This is WWE superstar Drew McIntyre, and you're listening to the WWE Podcast.
The champ is
the one that everybody wants, me.
Becky Lynch is going to WrestleMania. Claymore!
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. This is my iron. You're going to acknowledge me.
Well, Night of Champions has come and gone, not without a little bit of controversy, and we'll talk about that in a moment, but I thought overall it was a decent show. I'd say thumbs up. There were some weird things that you've probably heard me critique in the past, but overall the booking was pretty solid. I didn't get every prediction correct. I think I missed one. And that was Jacob Fatu dropping the United States title. I did not see that coming, but it makes sense. Actually, I don't hate it. I only hate it because selfishly it made me, it stopped me from having a perfect prediction record for this show. But other than that, I thought the decision was fine. And we'll dive into that as well. But I want to thank everybody for joining me here on the WWE Podcast for this official Night of Champions review on this Saturday night. This PLE came to us at 1 p.m. Eastern time, at least where I was, of course, in the United States. So kind of a weird time, but I don't mind it. You know, even if you're busy during the day, you can still kind of listen to it in one ear, keep one eye on it, and that's kind of what I did. Didn't watch every single second, but I caught the vast majority of it, so I'm able to obviously be here and talk to you. But those of you on Patreon, thank you for joining me. On the ad-free side, I saw a little bit of what was going on in the Discord chat. Of course, that's available to patrons over at patreon.com/WWE podcast. Everything ad-free too. So thank you everybody over on Patreon. Thank you to those on Apple Podcasts as well who subscribe there. You guys support the show and continue to make this possible. So thank you. Now let's jump into the event. And I guess I'll start from the top because I want to make sure I go in order and don't miss a match. This was a PLE that had more matches than usual. And don't worry, guys, we're getting Royal Rumble next year there. I'm as excited as you are. I don't know what it is. Saudi, there's a dark cloud constantly hanging over these events. I know that there's obviously the Iran situation, which actually has nothing to do with how Saudi views the United States, and the relationship between the United States and Saudi is really not affected in either way regarding what happened. And it seems like right now things are pretty quiet in the Middle East. Of course, that'll change and always does. But beyond that, I mean, there's just something about the Saudi, every time we hear, and you guys, I would think most of you agree, I'm not for sure saying that, but I would imagine most of you hear Saudi event, you're all from Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, you're like, oh God. It's this knee-jerk reaction to, oh God. And you roll your eyes like, oh, they're going to Saudi again. It's something about it. And I know that the government doesn't treat their people, or didn't. They're getting better in some areas, but treat their people well. And there's obviously some questionable moral and ethical decisions done by the Saudi government. And it is one big propagandist show a lot of times. And you saw the big advertisement in the middle of the ring that said Saudi season or something, Saudi Arabia season, or I don't know, something like that. It's like, hey, come to Saudi, where, you'll only be 48% oppressed as a woman. I mean, anyway. So there is that, but Royal Rumble comes to Saudi next year, and womp womp. I don't know. I can't shake the Saudi event feeling. It just is not leaving me. It's unfortunately just seared into my brain now. My brain chemistry of I hear Saudi event and I go, ugh, it's in Saudi. Nothing against the Saudi people. I have nothing against the people. The crowd was loud, although not for Jade. We'll talk about that. Yes. But all right. So let's get into it, guys. Let's start with Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton for the King of the Ring tournament final. What was on the line? Well, being crowned King of the Ring, but more importantly, a tangible prize here of the victor, getting a shot at the World Championship at SummerSlam. Now, when I say World Champ, I should have said the Undisputed Championship, i.e. John Cena, who ended up winning, as we know. So this match this was a lot of fun. And Randy Orton was the fan favorite, I would say, by 75-25%. And a great match. Cole tried to bring up some of the past with Legacy, and that was fine. He did pull on the past of these two and brought up the record of 8-3 or 7-3. They said both. And that's fine too. That's all good. I just wish it was reserved for when somebody turned on the other. And yes, we saw the look from Randy Orton at the end of the match, which maybe it's a foreshadowing of him turning on Cody and RKOing him, and then you start a personal feud. It's very possible. I just wish that when they first locked up, the first time since Cody Rhodes has been back, I believe, in a one-on-one match, I was hoping it would be something of a personal feud, because there's just so much groundwork already laid for that, instead of just this exhibition matchup that was they're forced to face each other because of their advancements in the tournament bracket. Again, I'm only complaining because I feel like we didn't get the full story we could have, instead of just, oh, it's Cody and it's Randy, they haven't fought in a while, and oh, they were in that Legacy thing a long time ago. Instead of just you imagine the incredible video packages you could put on that and everything else, and we still may get that, but nonetheless, this match was still very good. Crowd solidly behind Randy Orton. Cody didn't get booed, although his reactions from the crowd were just about a quarter of what Randy Orton was getting. So it wasn't like Randy or Cody was turning heel, although during the match, when Randy had the faux injury with the superplex early in the match, Cody did go after the back and target the back of Randy Orton in a way that the announcers actually pointed out and said, now this is a little bit different from Cody here, going after the back and doing torture racks or whatever he was doing on Randy Orton on the apron. And that was a little bit more aggression than you've seen from Cody. So are there hints of Cody possibly turning at some point in the near future? I wouldn't say this is definitive proof, but if you're looking for anything, you could put this in your bag of evidence that, especially with the announcers explicitly pointing that out, it's something to think about. And then again, at the end of the match with Randy, you're thinking about him turning. So somebody's turning at some point. It's just a matter of, does Randy now get involved in the match at SummerSlam with Cody and Cena, or does Cody just turn and now we got two? I mean, I don't know, but there is something I hope coming down the line between Randy and Cody. Now, neither are retiring anytime soon, so that's good. It's not like John Cena, who, you've only got X amount of time. You got to make it happen quick. So there is that. But all right, so let's get to a little bit more here. The finish was Orton and Cody taking turns trying to slam each other's heads into the exposed turnbuckle that Randy Orton did use. He tried to utilize the turnbuckle. Cody ended up pushing off an RKO attempt, shoved Orton into the exposed turnbuckle, and Cody followed up with the Cody cutter, or not the Cody cutter, but the Crossroads for the victory. So again, I wouldn't say that that's a heel turn either. That's something that Randy did to try to gain an advantage that Cody just used at his disposal. Turnabout's fair play, so it's fine. That's not really a heel move. He just did what he should have done if you're trying to win the match. And the other good thing is only one kick out of Cody's finish. Only one Crossroads was kicked out of. I did not like that the RKO was kicked out of. As good as the sell was from Cody in that match, and that was a great sell on the RKO. I'll give Cody credit on that. That's as good of an RKO sell that you will ever see, ever. And the RKO is not hard to sell, but there's a smoothness, a silkiness to it that when you hit it just right and the person sells it and bounces perfectly, and Cody nailed it. You could not have done it any better. A video game couldn't have made that any better. You couldn't have AI'd it or animated it in any way to improve the sell. It was perfect by Cody. So I'll give credit where it's due there. And again, I never critique his wrestling. It's always on point, but that RKO sell was just, as the kids say today, chef's kiss. It was great. I just didn't like the fact that it was kicked out of, because can any finishers be protected anymore? Is there a single finish that's not kicked out of at least once anymore? But the good thing was steps here. Only one of the Crossroads were kicked out of. So, but then Cody Rhodes, he did win after 20 minutes. Long match, but match that it was really good. The pacing was really nice. They weren't trying to go 100 miles an hour. Just two professionals in there having a B+ match. Just great. So, all right. We then had Byron interviewing Cody in the ring. Cody praised Orton and said he'd been a mentor to him, and Orton didn't look pleased as he stood on the ramp and Cody said it was an arduous path and that he and Jay and now Orton will face either Punk or John Cena at SummerSlam. This is the next line I don't like. Okay, we could do without this, Cody. We could do without this. He said, quote, "I understand the reaction of fans when I face beloved characters." Are you effing kidding me? But he said he was born to do this, and he said he'll be the champion, blah, 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 at SummerSlam. Okay. You guys know what I'm going to critique here. What are you talking about, beloved character? I know what he's saying. He's saying, hey, listen, I know you guys like me, and I'm going to face other good guys, other baby faces, so I have to do it because I'm trying to win a championship. So don't hate me. Please don't hate me. I have to face other good guys, too, that you also like. So maybe if I acknowledge that up front, that you'll like me more over those other guys. That's what he's saying. Instead of just letting the chips fall where they may, we have to expose the business. And he also calls them beloved characters. Are you... I need to go on. I need to go uncensored here because this is the stuff that Cody and Mr. Suit and Tie just cannot stop himself from. Mr. Break the fourth wall because no one's ever done it or something, when in fact we want to repair that wall. I want that wall repaired. I don't want anyone to ever acknowledge the fourth wall again. It's not new. It's not revolutionary. Doesn't push anything into a more real sense of reality. It's not something that is, again, groundbreaking when people talk about kind of meta stuff and beloved characters. Is this a Disney special? We don't say beloved characters. That's what you say in like a documentary done 10 years from now with somebody doing a voiceover. You don't do it for somebody in the ring in an active program with these people. Cody, and more importantly, just WWE, can we get a little bit of sense of respect here as fans to try to make us engaged here? Okay, moving on. There's more of that coming, more critiques. So if you like a little bit of negativity, man, I'm your guy. I know some of you write reviews about how negative I am. Some of you are just you love it so much where you're going to get it. You're going to get it. But I actually do have a lot of good stuff to say. I really do. So the next match, I have to say, this match, and in particularly the video package into this match of Rhea Ripley and Raquel Rodriguez for the street fight, well done. The video package got me 6 times more interested in the match than I ever thought I was going to be, because Raquel has been essentially a non-personality since she debuted. She was big on showing off her, lat muscles and all of her toned or perceived toned back, and that's pretty much all I knew about her. And those promos that I had kind of forgotten about that were mashed together in the video were well done. And it made me understand what was going on here and how Rhea and Raquel did have a relationship, a genuine friendship to begin WWE, and how, Raquel, upon a return, turned on Ripley, and then Ripley returned the favor, and here we go. Easy to understand. Easy to understand. And this match lasted 14 minutes, longer than I thought it would, with Rhea beating Raquel. Now, we did have, as expected, Roxanne Perez get involved. We knew that was going to happen. Some of these spots here of the Rhea's face getting slammed into the steel steps looked great. It looked great to the point where I was kind of looking like, is she actually hurt? The table spot here of Riptide off the top of the table that was on the top rope that the referee was holding, which I'm totally fine with. I'm not going to hammer the referee for kind of, I don't know if breaking character or not, getting involved in with something he shouldn't. No problem with that at all. Safety first, my friend. And he was holding that table steady as he should have. I mean, that was good instinct, unless it was already planned that he was going to hold it, whatever. That was yes, sure. That was good stuff. Now, the Riptide off the top with Rodriguez getting pinned and Ripley winning made total sense to me. Ripley wants to be back in the title picture. She should be. Do I want her to be immediately a champion? Probably not. She doesn't need the belt. She actually has gotten to the point in her career where she doesn't need the belt. I wouldn't mind another run or two, but I don't need Rhea Ripley anymore as women's champion. At least right now, I don't feel like she needs it. I feel like she needs to be outside of it even a little bit longer. If you want to build up to a later in the year title run, that's fine, where she can defend it at WrestleMania. She's still young enough where she has, I would guess, at least a good 5 years left in her of her prime if she wants to. But I'm not at the point where I'm saying, hey, Rhea Ripley, and oh man, they really need to give her the belt. No, she's a made woman. She is the face of the women's division. So I'm sure she also loved the fact that she had to wear, head to toe clothing or latex or whatever she was wearing because of the requirements per the Saudi governments of how women need to dress in public. And that does not exclude performers. So Rhea Ripley, I'm sure, was just thrilled with that. And same with Jade Cargill, both of them that are very much on the side of look at my body. And I've gone over that many times. That I actually think is, a detriment to the women. To me, I like the fact that you have the matches that are focused on the action, the women, the moves, the story. Not like, hey, look at this, look at that. Like, that's whatever all the women were trying to move away from. That's what the whole women's revolution was about, is moving away from that stuff, because it does nothing but objectify, and it just is what it is. I mean, especially when you've got a predominantly male 18 to 40-year-old audience. Have you met a guy? Have you met a dude that's not, again, a straight dude with women, especially when they see attractive women? Are they don't care about visuals at all? Of course not. So even when they're watching wrestling, and when I watch wrestling, hey, I'm a straight married guy, but I'm not blind. And I honestly don't watch wrestling for any of that. I watch it for wrestling, to get involved in stories, to just decompress from my day. And I'm not asking for women to wear potato sacks or to wear that all the time. Some of you will take that away from what I'm saying. I'm not. But I'm saying, though, that just generally, I think that when it's focused on stories and ability and characters and getting emotionally involved in a story, that's where the money's at. That's where the money has always been for pro wrestling. Okay. Again, Rhea wins here. And again, good match. Good effort on both parts here. Raquel Rodriguez had a really good night, and maybe the biggest match of her career. Do I dare say? Is that Rhea Ripley's biggest match ever? I'm sorry, Raquel Rodriguez's biggest match ever? Maybe. Okay. We then have Sami Zayn and Karrion Kross, with Sami Zayn coming out first, and he is wearing, the headdress and all that. I got to get the official name of what that is, but he was also wearing Palestinian colors. He's very outspoken on which side he's on in that whole conflict. Okay, I'm only bringing that up because Sami Zayn is very vocal about it, and he makes it very much known on Twitter about where he stands. Okay. Very much pro-Palestine, very much anti-Israel. It's very clear. There's no discerning or interpretation needed to know and understand where Sami Zayn's priorities and his love lies, certainly with Palestine. So I'm only saying that now. It's controversial because it's a pretty controversial topic for him to do that. But he comes out anyway, and crowd likes it. Crowd loves it. Sami Zayn, big fan favorite here. And the match with Karrion Kross, I don't think it was awesome. I do think that it was slow for the first 60%. And I was worried that Karrion Kross was going to have a stinker, even with a guy like Sami Zayn who can wrestle anybody. I was a little bit concerned. Karrion Kross he wasn't picking up the pace. And I don't want a 100 miles an hour match, but it felt very much like Karrion Kross at times for a little more than half of the match was just kind of moving in slow motion. Too much. And maybe he didn't know what to do next. I felt that he looked a bit not confused, but a little bit misguided on what to do or how to put the match together. That's my interpretation for the first half, okay? But then things picked up, and we eventually did get a Sami Zayn victory after Cross hit Zayn with a running clothesline. Cross backed up for another, and then Zayn followed up with a haluva kick and got the 3 count. Haluva kick might be a pretty protected finish. I don't remember a ton of people kicking out of the haluva kick. I mean, I know he faced Roman Reigns and everybody else, but at least lately, the haluva kick is pretty damn protected. I mean, just not all the time, but one of the more ones. So Karrion Kross loses here. The announcers, Cole did bring up, and Barrett did bring up the fact that, hey, social media's got a groundswell behind him, and now it's time to see if the fans chose right, essentially is what he said. It's time to see if you fans know what you're talking about. Karrion Kross has to deliver. That's essentially what he said. Paraphrasing, of course. And I would say Karrion Kross did, but not overwhelmingly. And so it's like, I don't know if it helped him, but not a lot here. And yeah, he lost to Sami Zayn, but that's not even the issue. It's a matter of, can he wrestle at a level where, as fans, we were right that that WWE should be pushing him. And I would say mildly, yeah, we were right, mildly. There's more to be done on the back end here. We need to see more promos from Karrion Kross. We need to see more consistent TV time. I don't know where they go with him from here after the loss to Sami. I'm not sure, but it was a decent night for Karrion Kross. Not a blowaway. Crowd enjoyed the finish here. And I will say too, it was weird, and it's not a complaint, it's more of a question. When the cross jacket was put on Sami Zayn, and the referee picked up Sami's hand and dropped it, I know it used to be you drop it 3 times, you're considered knocked out. And then at some point along the way, it's just you drop your arm once, you're considered out, the match is called. And then tonight it went back to, you got to drop it 3 times in a row. And even the announcer, Cole, at one point, you could tell he's didn't know if the match was over or he should pretend no, it has to go down 3 times. I genuinely don't know. Did they change it along the way, or did they just adjust it when need be? I'm not sure. So, I mean, Sami Zayn obviously didn't get, he didn't get knocked out. So he continued the match at 2 3/4 with his hands coming down to the mat. But I didn't know if there was an official rule here that it keeps being modified. So anyway, Sami Zayn winning was the right call. All right, Sabu, Jacob Fatu, oh my gosh, versus Solo Sikoa for the United States Championship. This match went 12 minutes, fairly quick compared to the other 3 here, and it was good. I would say that these two, they did work their ass off. The story is easy to understand. I would say people are, I think honestly people are burned out of the bloodline just generally. And I have said that, I know, at times over the years with the bloodline story since its inception in 2020. So it's been 5 years now of some iteration, one way or the other. This person's this person's turning, that person's turning, back to babyface to heel. This person's ousted, this person's back. This person hasn't been seen in 3 months, injury. We've seen all iterations, right? And since Solo took his own bloodline and made it his own and brought in Tama Tonga Loa, brought in Jacob Fatu, JC Mateo, and now we get I can't even pronounce the name. The brother of Tonga Loa and Tama Tonga. That's who it is. Hikulo? Oh my gosh, I can't pronounce it. It's Hikuleo. Hikilo? Oh my gosh. I need to take a grammar class. But the brother, I'll just say the brother of Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa. Okay, fine. Now he's here. How many more are we bringing in? As Jim Ross once said about the Dudleys, is there a Dudley farm? Well, is there a Samoan farm here that they just keep pumping these people in? I can guarantee you that most fans looked at that the call-ups from Tama Tonga, Tonga Loa, and at the time Jacob Fatu and now the brother of Tonga Loa and Tama Tonga, and said, "Who is this?" In person. And if you didn't have the announcers at home to tell you who that was, the people in the audience probably were like, "Huh? Who's this?" Most of us don't know any of these people other than just they look kind of similar, so they must be family. I mean, that's kind of how, if you're in the audience and you're not tuned in to the stuff going on like in Japan or in NXT or whatever, if you're just main roster only, you're looking at this and going, okay, well, the only thing I have to grab onto here is that they kind of look alike, so it's probably somebody from their family again. So I'm just a little concerned for the Bloodline story generally, because I think people are starting to tune out this whole Bloodline story, because it seems to be rinse and repeat. Every Bloodline match has interference all the time, nearly without exception. And then you're introducing new people that I think they're doing it at a pace that's a little too quick, because I feel like Jacob Fatu is just getting his spotlight shined on him here. Yes, he dropped the belt because of the interference from not just Tama Tonga Loa, but who, I can't say his name, the tall brother from Japan. And so now you got to build him, but then that leaves you with, well, Fatu had a bunch of momentum, but now the spotlight's going to be off Fatu and on, so I feel like it's too quick. They're rapid firing, introducing people, and it doesn't give time for anyone to breathe and build, and fans to choose who they want to get behind, and that kind of thing. And so again, I could be totally wrong on that, but I think the pace in which they're introducing new talent is a little bit fast. Fatu losing, I was wrong, but Solo Sikoa here winning in the fashion he did, I mean, it's just par for the course for Solo. That's the only time he ever wins, is seemingly with interference. So, yeah. And that's fine. So he's got more people behind him. I feel like it's turning into a mini version of the NWO when it was to the point where it felt like everyone was joining and it was watered down and no one seemed to really, it wasn't a big deal when anyone joined. It's like, oh, yeah, well, it came to the point where, and again, this is not what I'm saying about the Bloodline, but with the NWO, where the NWO was now the establishment, and WCW, people that didn't join and were still fighting against the NWO, were actually now the resistance. So it became just so big. Obviously, it's not what's happening here, but it feels a little bit just kind of like it's not a big deal anymore of who joins the Bloodline. I mean, outside of just the family, if somebody outside the family were to join it, Sami Zayn, I believe, is the only one. That would be a little bit more interesting, but then it would kind of defeat the name of the Bloodline because they're not family. So I guess the name alone restricts who can be in this exclusive group. So Jacob Fatu drops the belt. Solo Sikoa wins. That was, I think, the big shocker for most people here. All right. We then have Asuka versus Jade Cargill in a Queen of the Ring tournament here for a shot at the World Championship at SummerSlam. This match was okay. Crowd didn't give a damn. It was 8.5 minutes, shortest match of the whole night. Clearly due to just Jade's limitations. That's the only reason for this. They're hiding her weaknesses, which she's, clearly still has. I know some people are out there saying that, she just can't wrestle. She just flat out is a bad wrestler. I'm actually going to come to the defense of Jade here from an in-ring perspective. Notice I said in-ring. I'll get to the other part in a minute. Jade, since her debut, has been protected and coddled in a tag team for the vast majority. She had a few brief moments in the Royal Rumble that were big. A probably career moment at Elimination Chamber when she came in and went after Naomi. They actually, at WrestleMania, had a very good match. And I said at that point, Jade Cargill has arrived. Because it felt like she finally understood the in-ring psychology. She kind of is starting to put all of it together in ring. And then she faces Asuka here, and this was not good. it was okay. Asuka is still, I mean, she's still really good. We know what Asuka is. And I wasn't expecting a 5-star classic here. Nobody was. But it was 8.5 minutes, quick, and the crowd didn't give two craps about this match. I mean, even the support for Asuka was pretty subdued. Asuka had clearly the majority support from the audience because of just her tenure and the flat out, I think, just rejection of Jade. And it's not because Jade was doing botch after botch after botch, although the finish was sloppy. We all know that. We saw it. She did Jaded, and then she fell all the way backwards to the point where her shoulders were on the mat after she covered Asuka, and then she got the 3 count anyway, blah, blah, blah. Okay. I don't even care about that. I know some people are making a big deal about it. If you think I'm not. Jade generally in ring has been on an upward trajectory, and the announcers were trying to put her over, that clearly all the hours she's putting in outside the ring are starting to show. And generally, yes, this was a little bit of a bump in the road. It wasn't the smoothest match, but generally, she's been on an upward trajectory in ring. I would concur with that. The problem is she feels, I think, that the crowd is disrespectful to her because she just put out a tweet. I want to find what it said. I think it's very short. Jade Cargill was not pleased with what the crowd did to her at the event here. And she said, quote, and not a big quote here, but period, wow, period, end quote. And it's clearly directed at the fact that the crowd was just indifferent / negative to her. And to that, I'll say, too bad. I'll say too bad. Now, some people will scream racism. That's already out there, which is just ridiculous. It's ridiculous. If anyone's screaming racism, I would say that, to be honest with you, if this match was held in a United States city, the crowd would have been slightly more interested, although not overwhelmingly, in the corner of Jade. Okay? They may not have booed her, but they would have probably been just as quiet for Jade. Why? Number one, Asuka's a beloved character, to quote Cody Rhodes. The fans respect her. Asuka hasn't really done anything to make herself a heel lately. She's got a lot more respect. She's been here longer. People love the Asuka character generally. And Jade, we don't know who you are. See, that's at the core of this whole problem is you may think you're deserved some kind of reaction in your mind that you feel is a baseline reaction you should get. But why do you feel like you deserve that when your character has gotten nearly no development? What connection do you have with the fans that you think you should be eliciting a reaction from the audience that you feel is respectable? Again, in ring, you're slowly improving. Good. That's one part. I would argue the more important part is an emotional connection to make them care about what you're doing in the ring. See, what you do in the ring is secondary. If they don't know your character or can or cannot connect with your character, then they don't give two craps about what you do in the ring, because why should they? They're indifferent to who you are. They don't even know who you are. That's the problem, Jade. So no, you got exactly the reaction your character deserved, because no one knows who you are. So there, I explained it pretty clearly for you. And she's, I'm sure, in private, cussing the crowd out. Again, my assumption is that about how we come over here and we bust our ass and we get that kind of reaction. But Jade, look, nothing is owed to you. I'm sure, I don't know if anyone's ever told you that in your life. No one owes you anything. You earn stuff. Okay? And your character has not earned anything yet in the eyes of WWE fans. And yeah, Saudi was probably a little more harsh on you than if you went in an American city or anywhere else overseas. But number one, it was kind of a cold match. Number two, the fans respect Asuka much more than your character. Number 3, we don't even know who you are as a character outside of just you're very proud of your physique. That's all we effing know. So until that changes, until you're able to give us a little bit more to grasp onto, other than relying on your one card that you've played, then maybe we will care more about what you do in ring and react appropriately to what you want us to react to. And even in the States, like her reaction, again, she's had some decent moments. Rumble, Elimination Chamber. Yeah. But again, after that, they didn't really do much. Jade has just been this intimidating figure that comes around, and you know what she is. She just comes in, does power moves. She looks like $1 million. But then you scratch beneath the surface and say to yourself, why should I care? Why should I care what Jade Cargill does? And the minute you try to connect two brain cells together about why, you come up with nothing. Because there is no reason outside of, again, if anybody I'm sure there's people that want to play the race card on this. Go ahead and try. It's because that's literally all there is left. And that's preposterous, of course, if anyone actually believes that. But I guess that if anyone's playing the race card, that is simply just them not wanting to admit the fact that she's just not a good wrestling character right now. That's it. She is held to the same standard that every other wrestler is in the eyes of professional wrestling. In the eyes of professional wrestling fans, if you can't connect with us emotionally, we're not going to react. Why? We are emotional beings. We care about what you do if we care about your character. That's really that easy. Okay, I've said my piece on that. So, wow, Jade. All right. So then we have John Cena and CM Punk. This match went 26 minutes. These guys, they had an awesome main event here. I really got to say. The pacing was what you thought it would be. There was the obligatory ref bump. Yes. Ref bump. We got to count it. So the ref bump came when there were dueling chants for Cena, which happened all night. And they did a leapfrog spot that resulted in Cena hitting the ref. Punk hit the GTS, covered Cena for the pinfall, but the ref was down. A cameraman was positioned on stage and Punk motioned to the back, which, again, Punk shouldn't have to do that. Shouldn't there be just a referee on standby? That shouldn't be Punk's obligation. That should be his responsibility. That's on management. Anyway, it's pro wrestling. However, Seth Rollins' music hit. He comes out with Breaker, Bronson Reed, and Paul Heyman. He's got the Money in the Bank briefcase. That's when the broadcast team pointed out that Rollins didn't bring a ref with him, as normally happens with a Money in the Bank cash-in. And then we had Punk dive onto both men here. Or rather, Rollins moving his jacket, took the briefcase from Heyman. Breaker and Reed come in the ring. Punk dove onto both men. He overshot them. And then he took an awkward fall, but he didn't seem to be hurt. And then Breaker and Reed put Heyman through one of the broadcast tables. Or not Heyman, I should say. Not Heyman, sorry. But Rollins stood in the middle of the ring, motioned to the back. Referee Charles Robinson comes out. Cena knocked him down at ringside. Comes in the ring, went face-to-face with Rollins. Swung the briefcase at him. Cena ducked it. Hit Rollins with an AA. And Penta comes out. Yes, Penta. And fought on the ramp with Breaker. And Sami Zayn comes out. He comes out to the ring, fights Breaker, and Penta dove onto both men. In the ring, Reed climbed in while Cena was down. And Punk pushed Reed off the top rope. Cena hit an AA on Reed, which got a big pop. And Cole explained that Cena and Punk didn't want the match to become a triple threat, so they worked together to keep Rollins out of it. It's logical. And here's the finish. Cena and Punk meet in the middle of the ring. Punk offered a handshake. Cena accepted it and then hugged Punk. And then he made the mad face, the same face he made at the Elimination Chamber. And he went for the nut kick. Punk blocked it. Cena slipped away after he went for an ST. Punk hoisting up Cena for the GTS, and Cena slipped away. And then Rollins hit Punk with the briefcase and a stomp, and Cena got the victory. So Rollins screwed Punk again is apparently the narrative here. And I will say, there's a lot of overbooking, yes, in these main events. That's another critique I'm hearing. Overbooking. And yeah, the ref bump and predictable 6 people coming out does get a little bit tiresome and a little bit too hard to follow, and it doesn't need to be that complicated. But if the end result is just we're supposed to believe that CM Punk was screwed by Seth Rollins, then we know where they're going. Again, they're going to seemingly reignite Seth Rollins and CM Punk. Not the worst thing in the world, I guess. But I mean, I guess it leads you to believe that CM Punk is never going to capture the championship. And I don't know if he ever will. I don't know when CM Punk's getting another title shot here. I'm not sure. It also makes you wonder if, John Cena, or rather CM Punk's character looked like a fool. How many people are going to pretend to trust Cena before and then get their ass kicked before somebody doesn't trust Cena? How many times? Why are we extending handshakes to this dude? Why are we, how many times does John Cena need to show in ring that he's can't be trusted? Yes, Punk blocked it, but if Cena had accepted the handshake, then what would they have done? Would they just ended the match? Called a draw? Called a draw, and then Punk's like, you know what? You're a good guy. I think I'm going to head backstage now. Like, what was the end game here if CM Punk or Cena did accept the handshake from Punk? What's the end game there, Punk? I don't know. But the main event was fine. It actually it was good. A little overbooked, yes. But again, CM Punk was. There's an out here that it was a ton of interference. Seth Rollins is the one that had the nail in the coffin for CM Punk. And, it does make sense. I mean, Seth Rollins is constantly talking about the hatred he has for CM Punk, which I believe is genuine. So that does make sense, too. And I didn't even think about Seth Rollins truly cashing in. I knew it was a possibility, but I didn't think that he would actually cash in. And he didn't. He teased it, and we didn't ultimately get it. So there you have it. The review here for Night of Champions. Again, overall, a good show. I give it a B-. A show that progressed storylines. Now we're shooting quickly to Saturday night's main event, one in just 2 weeks, and then Evolution the next night, Evolution 2 the next night with an all-women PLE. So that's going to be, I think, a decent show. Should be. The first Evolution was incredible from what I remember. I don't know if they'll be able to live up to that, but it's still going to be a fun week. And now we've got, again, rapid fire PLEs. And then 2 weeks after that, again, I think it's SummerSlam, right? Isn't it? Is it SummerSlam? Yeah, I think SummerSlam's in July. All right. I got to check the schedule. But yeah, every 2 weeks there's a PLE. It's really just too much. But we're here nonetheless. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. I hope you want to join us on Patreon because we go ad-free for every show that we do. You have a Discord server you can chat in. You also have an opportunity to come on this show if you go out a tier high enough. You get the exclusive After Dark show. So some pretty good stuff there. So thank you, everybody, for listening. I will be back, not tomorrow, because this is kind of a combination here, weekend review. If you want to hear SmackDown and the thoughts on SmackDown, you can check on Amanda. She did a good review on SmackDown. Check her out on the feed. My quick thoughts on SmackDown is it was good, and CM Punk's doing his final build before their match the next night of being Punkonomics was pretty good, pretty damn good. Some good lines in there, and yeah, he stumbled a bit in some of his words, but he's human. And but overall, it was good. That was kind of the takeaway there was the Punkonomics, and I thought that was really good. Yeah, it was entertaining. The last time these two are ever going to have a match together, and everything John Cena does is probably from here on out the last time he's doing. Like every match he has with anybody is the last match he's having. So, yeah, that will do it. And by the way, where the hell's R-Truth? Are they doing anything with him? Good grief. I mean, I know he's attacking people from behind, and he's no longer the endearing, fun R-Truth. He's just attack from behind, shave my head R-Truth, which is kind of like neutering the whole character for me. To me, R-Truth was the endearing innocence of R-Truth was the part that connected him to the fans, and they took that away. But I'll talk about more about that later. Everybody, thank you for joining us here on the podcast. We'll be back. I'll be back. Probably Monday, we'll throw a little show in there for you. Until then, take care.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.